Okay, starting part 3 here. Now we're talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. Let's do 22 and 23 because that's important. What are the slopes of parallel lines? What's the deal with them? How do you know lines are parallel? What is going on with the slopes? They're same, yes. Exact same slopes. When I say exactly the same, I mean exactly the same. So if one of them is -3, the other one's got to be -3. It can't be -3 and +3. That's not exactly the same. Exactly the same. Okay? And how about perpendicular? By the way, just to refresh your memory, parallel just means that there are two lines in the same plane that don't cross, like train tracks, right? That's parallel. Perpendicular means that they are going to cross at 90-degree angles. So they don't have to be perfectly vertical and horizontal. They can be, but they could make an X, right? As long as their intersection makes a 90-degree angle. Those are perpendicular. What's the deal with their slopes? Yes, that's the phrase we kept saying. Opposite, reciprocal. So what does that mean? That means that they are opposite in sign. So one will always be positive, one's negative. And then the reciprocal, that's the fraction flipped over. So do they have us doing some examples somewhere? No. So I'm going to do it right now. Just a couple of examples. So if the original slope, and then we'll do the perpendicular slope. If the original slope was 2/3, what's the perpendicular slope going to be? What's the opposite reciprocal to that? To 2/3. Yes, -3/2. Okay, how about if the original was 7? What's the opposite reciprocal to that? -1/7. And then the only one that's kind of tricky, and of course I'm out of room, if the original was 0, what's the opposite reciprocal of that? Undefined. So those are that pair. Yeah, that's the vertical and horizontal. They do go together as opposite reciprocals, even though, I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird. All right, so let's try some of these parallel perpendicular ones. Let's try 24 here. Actually, let's do 25 together. I'll leave 24 for you to try. 25 says, which line is perpendicular to the line y equals -3x + 2? So, perpendicular, that's a key word. I need to know what the slope is right now. What's the slope of this line, y equals -3x + 2? What's the slope of that? -3. So, if the slope right now is -3, what's my perpendicular slope going to be? +1/3. So my goal is really to figure out which of these has a slope of +1/3. They're all in standard form, so let's do that -a/b trick. So, right, -a/b, that's my fast way to find slope in standard form. So this would be -3/1, which is -3. That's the same, so this would be parallel, so I'm not choosing A. Let's try B. -a/b would be -1/3. Ah, we're looking for +1/3, not -1/3, so it can't be B. Let's try C. -3/-1 is now +3. That's not it. D. -1/-3 really is +1/3. Hey, there it is. So without having to rewrite everything into y equals mx plus b form, if we know that -a/b trick to find the slope, way faster. All right, let's try 26 now. All right, 26 says, get this up on the screen. Okay, write an equation that is parallel to this line and passes through this point. Parallel, well, what do we know about the slopes of parallel lines? Yes, the exact same slopes as we said before. So the slope right now is what? -4. So all I have to do is write the equation with this slope that goes through this point. And we have the equation to do that. It's the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's it. So let's just plug in those three numbers. Remember, it's these three numbers. You're always plugging in that, and that. So it's going to be y. Wow, all of them are like minus a negative today. Minus -1 turns it into plus. My slope is -4. X minus -2 turns it into plus. And you're done, unless it says that your final answer has to be in slope-intercept form. Okay, fine, no big deal. Distribute the -4, and then minus the 1. And there it is. Okay. Are we all right so far? Okay, let's see. I feel like we're in the home stretch. I'm not going to have you do any like number 28, so skip right over that one. There aren't any on here like what I'm going to have you do, so let me just make one up for you real fast. I might give you something like this, where the dots are already there, or maybe you have to put the dots in. I'm not sure. But actually, hold on. I'll look on the test and see what you have to do. Because I've got it right here. There are none that you have to make the dots. Okay, fine. So, but I will give you something similar to this. So let's say all the dots are there and you have to write the equation. So what do? You're going to come in and you're just going to draw your best fit line. So remember, you want it through as many of the points as possible, right? You guys, this is, I just pulled this one from that practice for the quiz. You don't have it right in front of you right now. But you draw your line and then you find 2 good points where your line crosses the grid. It doesn't matter if there's a dot there or not. That one's pretty good. And that one's pretty good. So my slope, I'm going down, and pay attention to the scale. I went from 4 down to 3. So that's actually down 1 unit. And I'm going to go to the right 2 units. So that's my slope. So I'm just going to pop it into y equals mx plus b. I know my slope, -1/2 x, and then b, I'm at about, I don't know, 5.3-ish. Remember, we are, because everybody, when you're hand drawing it, we're all going to be a little bit different here. So I would accept a range of values for those. Okay, so that's what I'm going to ask you about with the scatter plots. And then it's the word problems. Everybody's favorite. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can get through here. Yeah. Once Giovanni comes back. Marianne is printing pictures from her recent trip to Europe. An online shop charges 15 cents per 4x6 print, along with a flat shipping charge of $3. Pause. Did they give us a slope? Let me zoom out a little bit for the video. All right. Did they give me a slope here? Yes. And how do I know? Because I see the word per. 15 cents per 4x6 inch print. Okay. And then a flat rate shipping charge of $3. That's a one-time fee. I'm just going to add that to the end. This is y equals mx plus b. How do I know? Because they gave me a slope and they gave me a starting point or a flat fee. No matter how many prints I get, I have to pay this $3 shipping charge. And then I'm going to add on to that 15 cents for each print. So when I put it all together, I've got 15 cents per picture plus a $3 charge. There's my equation. That's it. Now it says if Marianne has $35 to spend, how many prints can she order? I have to plug in 35 somewhere. Does it go in for X or does it go in for Y? Who can tell me? Would I put in 35 for X or Y? For Y. Yes, because it's a total amount. X is the number of pictures she's getting, right? So I'm just going to write 35 equals 0.15x plus 3. And now just solve for x. So I'll minus 3 from both sides. And then divide both sides by 0.15. So let's see, 32 divided by 0.15 is, so I'm getting this number, 233.33333333. Can you order that many pictures? No, you can't order a decimal of a picture. So how many can she, oh, sorry. How many can she actually order? 213, right? Because you can't order a decimal of a picture. So her max would be 213 total pictures. That's it. All right. That's a lot of pictures. She must have had a great vacation or something. All right, now let's try 31. All right, at Smith Mountain Lake Boat Rentals, it costs $25 per hour, slope, right, to rent a pontoon boat plus a one-time charge for cleaning. The Bengal family rented a boat from 11 to 6:30 and paid $226.50. If the Jones, okay, let's worry about the Jones family later. $25 per hour. So, boom, right away we know, ooh, that's a slope. That's M. And then it says there is this one-time fee for cleaning. The problem is they didn't tell us what it was. I don't know what it is. What they did give me is the bill for the Bengal family. So first of all, 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. How many hours is that? 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. 7.5 hours, right? So they rented it for 7.5 hours and paid $226.50. That's an ordered pair, everybody. That's two numbers that go together. So what we've really been given here is a slope of 25 and then an ordered pair. 7.5 hours cost $226.50. Once I realize that that's what I have, now you're just using point slope form. Y minus Y1 equals M times X minus X1. That's it. There's the equation. Now let's read for the Jones family. They rented the boat from 8 to 1. So first I got to figure out how many hours is that from 8 to 1. 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. would be how many hours? 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. 5 hours, right? Yeah, so where do I plug in 5 for X or Y? Yes, for X. X is almost always time. So if one of my numbers is time, it goes in for X. So we're going to do Y minus 226.50 equals 25 times 5 minus 7.5. And now I'm just doing the math. So over on that right-hand side, do your parentheses first. 5 minus 7.5, you get a negative 2.5 times 25. I get negative 62.5. And now I just add that over and I'm done. Okay, let's add that on. 226.50. 164. So, Jones family, $164. Which makes sense. They didn't rent it as long as the Bengal family, right? So I know that their total should be less than theirs. And it is. They paid over $200. The Jones is going to be under $200. So that makes sense. All right, home stretch here. We got 2 more word problems and then we're done. All right, let's try 32. Clint is in study hall reading The Hunger Games. After 20 minutes, he's on page 151. After 45 minutes, he's on 181. How many pages had Clint read prior to study hall? Oh, that's actually a good question. But let's start back. What did they give me? Did they give me a slope here? No. So what I do have is 2 ordered pairs, 2 things that go together. 20 minutes, 100, page 151. So 20, comma 151. There's 1 ordered pair. My other pair, 45 minutes, 181. 45, 181. So in order to write the equation of any line, I'm going to have to find the slope first. So let's do that. y2, 181, minus y1, 151, over x2, 45, minus 20. So that's going to be 30 over 15, which is 2. What does that mean in terms of this, in terms of Clint and his reading? What's this 2 really representing? It's really 2 over 1, right? This is showing that he's reading 2 pages per minute. Oh, look at you, Clint. All right, so he's reading 2 pages per minute. Anyway, so now we got to write the equation. Pick one of your 2 points. I'll just pick the first one. And I'm going to do point slope form. Y minus y1 equals our slope is 2 times x minus x1. All right, the question is, how many pages had he read prior to study hall? So that means like at the start of study hall, because we only know 20 minutes in. 20 minutes in, he was on 151, and then 45 minutes in. The question is, when study hall started, so when he's not any minutes in, how would I find that answer? Plug in what for what? Yes, 0 for x. When he's read 0 minutes into study hall, so we just plug in a 0 for x and then solve. That's it. All right, now let's just do our math. So over here, 0 minus 20 is negative 20, times 2 would be negative 40. And then we just add the 151 over. And we get 111, which makes sense, right? That he was on page 111 when study hall started. Because I know after 20 minutes, he was already up to page 151. So I knew before I did anything, the answer had to be less than 151. All right, last problem. Here we go. Elena is selling wreaths and poinsettias for her chorus fundraiser. Wreaths are 27 each and poinsettias are 20. If she sold 15 poinsettias and made $543, how many wreaths did she sell? Okay. Ooh. So they're not really giving us a way to set up the original. Well, because here's what I've got the 2 different quantities, right? So I want to go with AX plus BY equals C. Usually they give us a total. They didn't. They gave us really a point. Anyway, so wreaths are $27 each. So I'll have 27x plus poinsettias, or poinsettias? I don't know. How do you say it? I'm just going to leave this number over here. Again, normally they give us a total, but here, I don't know. But then I know if she sold 15 poinsettias and made $543, how many wreaths did she sell? Okay, so X, we said, is wreaths. And then poinsettias is Y. So for my second part, I can plug in 15 for Y. And now I know she's going to make... They did finally give me a total. So $20 for each poinsettia, and she sold 15 of them. And we're going to get $543. I don't love this question because it's set up a little bit different than the other ones we've done. Because usually they just give you a total here, and then you solve for one of them. They did it sort of in a weird way here. But anyway, we can still get our answer. We have 27x plus 20 times 15 is going to be 300 equals 543. So now we'll just minus the 300. I'm going to write my answer over here because I'm running out of room. So 27x is going to equal 243. And then we just divide by 27. And of course it doesn't come out nice. I got 34.7. Did we miss something on this one? Did I miswrite something? Wreaths were 27, poinsettias 25, 15 poinsettias, 543. Let me just double check my math because usually it does come out as a nice number. 300. 243 divided by 27. no, it's 9. Sorry, I must have mistyped something. It comes out nice. 9. I'm glad I double checked. Sorry for any confusion there. All right, so she must have sold 9 wreaths. Okay, let's end this video. Hopefully, people watching, this will help. Good luck.